SK book, perhaps.
And the Captain Adagio. They're actually putting probably. Well, actually, I guess the Rona might be in lane here, right?
It very well could be. I almost expect it to be Rona in the lane with the Kestrel coming out of the jungle. I think that's probably their best pairing with this selection of heroes.
I'm surprised that no one has picked Gwen, and yeah, she's not picked at all, and Ringo will be picked here for SK. So
And neither of these teams play a whole lot of Gwen. They've each played Gwen like 2 or 3 times.
they played it yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that was like one of their first. Again, they've only played it like 2 or 3 times total, so they're not too.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Europe for this day 2 of week 2. I'm really excited. Europe is one of my favorite regions to watch because it's just so chaotic and the standings are all over the place. But we will start to have teams pull ahead. Forecourt currently seeing a bit of aggression from Fnatic as they're trying to dive on in and get some gold for themselves. Tyros, though, seems pretty confident as he's throwing those Malice and Verdicts out. Cavalifar on this Ringo looking to step forward. Fnatic not sure if they want in or out. Take it all about. Do the hokey pokey and you get first blood here, Forecourt.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't really expect to see it as both teams are going to be backing off now. Techno, though, became a wall in that bush, but Cavalifar goes right into it.
That is not where you want to be, my friend, and there it is. The first blood does come through. Jetpack's almost with the Protector contract, gives him some shielding, but even so, that was a misstep, unfortunately, for Cavalifar. And, you know, I talk about the standings being close. There's 5 teams, Forecourt, who are currently vying for that first place. And so every result we get from this stage on Forecourt is massive for one of the teams actually securing first place.
The way that the points split here in EU was actually very interesting there back in Split 1, because I feel like they were definitely a little bit more diverse than the NA. I mean, in NA, there was a very clear top 5 than that bottom 3. But when it came to EU, they always seem to fight just a little bit more. They're a bit scrappier in the standings. But that was a very strange rotation from Cavalifar. Like, yeah, they saw them exit, but kind of walk blindly into a bush that way to come up to lane. Well, it didn't do SK any favors. So it's not the end of the world. First blood is done. But if you are thinking about those points, you got to make sure that you kind of brush it off, right? Don't go on tilt from this. Just continue on, play your game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's not like the end of the world for Cavalifar, but he's certainly taking a lot of pressure here as you see Palmatoro comes up with his CP Kestrel. Tyra's going to join the fun as he goes, I can do what you can do better. Throws those Malice and Verdicts out, and Palmatoro takes some hurting in the process. Both these captains here, Jetpacks and Net2let, prioritizing the Protector contracts, which is quite interesting. And look at this, Techno JJ on the lane, Rona diving deep, almost finding a kill for himself. Tyros has to commit to staying to lane as he throws those Malices out and really hurts Net2let in the process. It's actually going to look for a kill, and wow, it comes through. You just never know with Tyros. Well, actually, you do know with Tyros. If he goes and hard commits, then a kill is inbound.
Well, it took a little while for that kill to come online because he had to dance around the minions becoming something of a shield for those Malice and Verdicts. But eventually he was able to dance around. The Drifting Dark lasted just long enough, and now he's going to find Pommel, but he doesn't get the farm. It was a good attempt, but unfortunately he comes out dry.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not going to be any more bloodshed here on their Halcyon Fold, but a very back and forth start to begin with. 1-1 and a bit of a gold lead swinging back and forth, just depending on who's farming at the moment. Nothing really to scream home about, but what is interesting is that Tyra's on his, you know, almost patented Samuel. You know, I think of Samuel and I think of Tyra's, is untouched. He is ahead, he's got himself a kill. He's, you know, equal in farm, which is fine because Palmatoro has, like, prioritized so much aggression into the lane. And Tyra is just going to continue scaling on this Samuel. That's a scary thought for Fnatic.
It's not quite the timer that we talk about a lot with Baron. Like, once Baron starts hitting 2-3 items, you're in trouble. But it is somewhat similar. I feel it would be a close second or third place to a Baron. Because once you get into a 2 or 3 item Samuel, he really can run away with the game. Now, it does depend on how far ahead you are. He is easily shut down due to some CC that you can get out there. Like if Net2let can get off that versus Judgment, for example. Palmatoro and Active Camo. Tetno's going to be just all over that back line.
Yeah, it dives right in, but Techno, he has to be careful that he doesn't hard commit too much. Palmatoro is currently diving around the lane. There is a mine which is giving a lot of vision to SK actually, right in the middle of the lane, and they can kind of protect it as well based on how far up they are. Fnatic, a little bit struggling with the lane Rona, you know, melee Rona does mean that Techno JJ struggles sometimes for farm if there's a lot of pressure kind of being dished out by SK.
Now, these melee laners, back when I joined into the game, it was like the rise of the melee laners. And typically we actually have seen like Black Feather and Rona do very well in lane, especially if you are going to be going into your weapon. You pick up that Book of Eulogies. She's already upgraded now into the Barb Needle there. But, you know, Techno at the same time, like, he might look like he's having trouble, but he's really just on par with the last hits. Like, he is not letting any of them get through to them. The weapon damage goes a long way for the clear under the turret there as well. And he has that health sustain. So it might look like there's a lot of momentum here for SK, but the farm is actually very steady from both sides. In fact, it's actually slightly edging out here for Fnatic.
Yeah, just back and forths, you know, swings and roundabouts more than anything. We haven't really seen a team take full control over the game just yet. We do see some crucial item purchases coming forward, though. Fountain's picked up. There's the Sorrowblade and Frostblade. Frost. It's gone.
Burn.
Where is it gone? Frost burn. Yeah, I'm gonna get burned in a second, aren't I? And you know, for SK, this is a huge moment because Palmatoro, he's got 1,300 gold. That means you can purchase a Shattered Glass and does.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But SK are in the lane. They're setting up. They're wanting a fight. They've got level 6 on Tyras. They've got that Oblivion. There are no reflex blocks, and if that hits, if that connects, then SK can go ham with that ability.
Yeah, pushing forward there as well. Cavalifar is two-shotting minions at this point. As soon as he gets the dice going for him, he just crits one, gets another shot, crits again and again and again. We are looking for some guy to engage, like a lot of power spikes.
A lot of power spikes. Oblivion does fall out, but it doesn't connect. Netalet, though, is taking a beating. Fnatic do fall under the turret. Still got that fountain, but I'm feeling it's going to be needed in just a second if SK will hard commit. One shot comes out, but it doesn't find its mark. SK now pushing forward, looking for the turret here. That's going to be the minion wave cleared by Fnatic. What will SK do now? Tyras goes, you know what? I smell jungle camps, ready for the taking the stealing away. So he goes and grabs those. And Palmatoro, he kind of knows it's happening, so he matches, but still, SK in the lane looking for blood, and Netalet still holding fast onto that fountain. Just hope for his sake that he's ready to pull it if necessary.
Alright, still a little bit more harass to come through as Tyras is just harassing real hard.
Malice and Verdict's out and out. Cavalifar throws that Hellfire Brew out to try and push Palmatoro back. And he will actually take the recall as well. Tenno, JJ is still low, but he has the Seven's Mask. He's healing. Adagio heal is there as well. They're desperately trying to clear the lane here, Fnatic. Because SK, they've got so much health. They've done so much work to that tower already.
Yeah, the earlier siege potential here from SK with the Ringo, with that Samuel, like, that will outdo even the best of the Crystal Kestrels at this point. I mean, even if she was 2-item, unless she finds that engaged, not really going to be able to stop out this siege. And Nettoilette as that captain, right? He's not building into that damage. He's building into that sustain for the team. So, yeah, the early siege pays off. Techno not able to hold it. Palmataro had to go back first because he did get hit by that Hellfire. But a few of those engages there from Tyras as well. Just that could have actually happened a lot quicker if they had timed out the creep waves, because every time the creep waves come up, you really do limit the damage that Tyras can do, simply because the little minions get in the way. But they do clean through, they pick it up, they get some cash, and Cavalifar comes back with Poison Shiv. So name of the game up against healers these days, Dowsy, as we know, is that Mortal Strike.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, Mortal Wounds come through, it halves the healing that can come out, and we just see it coming out everywhere. You know, it's got great statistics. It was one of the items that got hit the least when all the attack speed items got nerfed. Poison Ship did also receive a nerf, but its nerf was the least, which meant that, in theory, compared to the other items, it came out strongest. So it's a very weird kind of thought train you go down. Well, it wasn't nerfed the most, so it kind of got buffed. But no, that's not quite how it works. But we are seeing another fight come out. Whoa, that gauntlet is huge from Jetpacks. And now we're going to see the Oblivion straight onto Palmatoro. Blocks it, but there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He just holds fast and throws Glimmer Shots till his death. And it will be Tyras nailing that one down. It's another kill SK's way, and they're looking to grab a turret as a result.
I'm convinced that this is actually going to just straight flop right here, and there it goes. It didn't even cleave through the 2 minions that came up against it right there. But Tenno should be able to stop really any more push from this. Cleans up that minion wave, but the jungle is going to be forfeit here as SK cleaves right through it. Crystal Sentry's going to say wave at them goodbye, and a one-shot to be caught there by Cavalifar. But does Fnatic really think that there's going to be kill potential here?
it pushes them back at least. I guess Cavalify got the healing from the Treant, but Fnatic are pushing forward. They want to fight. They feel like this is their chance. SK, though, are inside their jungle with Scout Traps out. Tyros goes forward. There's an active camo, but it's spotted by a flare, and you can just see him dancing, tempting Palmatoro. Come on, mate. I know you want it, but he won't be able to find it, and that's another big swing of gold going the way of SK here. They've got themselves a 3,000 gold lead forecourt, and we kind of saw this in Challenger Series this week, forecourt. We had this discussion about a Rona, and Rona, when she falls behind, is so hard to come back from.
It absolutely can be really just a bit more of a liability rather than the asset when you do kind of fall behind like that. And SK have taken a good control of the momentum here. They're taking good control of the gold here on top of things. But that being said, Tetno is 2 items. Like, once he gets into that Atlas Pauldron's coming up next, Net Toilette went from the Fountain into the Crucible, so now we're getting an Atlas there for Tetno. Probably going to still see one from Net down the line if we can actually get some of that gold gain back online. But that will really do a lot of work up against Cavalifar. Cavalifar is going to have to invest eventually after he's gunning for his 3rd red right now. But after that, I would highly suspect to see Reflex block, especially if that Atlas comes through, sometime in the next few moments and there's a fight. He is going to be looking to negate that.
Here comes a Hellfire Brew straight onto Palmatoro, but a good timely reflex block comes out, and that's him blocking the majority of the damage. Jetpack's taking huge damage, one shot flies out, and Tyros, he's singled out Palmatoro. He's looking for the 1v1 whilst the gauntlet is set down for a 2 versus 2. Tyros gets the kill. Cavalifar looking to find one of his own onto Net Toilette, and it will come through, and it just leaves Tetno JJ wondering what went wrong, where the fight was lost, and it was a massive split that came. Palmatoro on his own, and the gauntlet basically preventing Fnatic from chasing down the other 2.
Gauntlets have been really on point here from Jetpacks. They might not be stunning 3, 4, 5 people, but they are actually doing just enough work to keep Tetno JJ or Palmataro just kind of off their carry. Like, Cavalifar is really having a nice time of it simply because a lot of the interference plays being done by Jetpacks. That was a fantastic block because I think Tyrus actually might have dropped right there. And again, just it's another example of how Jetpacks is really doing just a lot of work here for his team.
Yeah, no, Jetpack's play has been on point this game thus far. Really interested to see where the captain itemization goes next, because, they're both at a very similar point, both these guys. You see Net Toilette's matching the build of Jetpacks. Jetpacks is optimized for a War Treads 3rd, and you see that Net Toilette's matching it with the Dragon Heart of his own, looking to go into it as well. But this is the next part, does a Atlas come out for Jetpacks just to try and shut down Tetno JJ? Yes, Atlas can shut down Rona's damage, but when she starts using the Red Mist, it kind of doesn't shut it down a massive amount. But this next couple of minutes is crucial for Court. This is where we sometimes see teams drop the ball, they wait for the Kraken before their next fight. They don't want a massive fight unless they can get much for it, and there's not much to get right now apart from perhaps a full gold miner, and that's it. And there's Crystal Sentry as well. So really interested to see where SK take this next couple bit. Oh, we're going to see a fight though. Looks like they walked straight into a trap. Gauntlet goes down. Palmatoro can't get through. And Cavalifar's going to turn it on its head. Tetno JJ falls. That's another kill coming forward. And that was strange. I didn't throw to you there, Forecourt, because I just 100% didn't expect Fnatic to all in like that.
Well, I saw Cavalifar. He came down through, he picked up the breaking point, picked up that infusion, and at the same time, like, I don't know if they looked at the items, but there's still no Atlas out here. There's still nothing to keep Cavalifar from just really racking up that attack speed, racking up those mortal wounds at the same time. So he went all in, and yeah, Tetno just went a little bit too deep. Like, he got caught by the hook.
He saw red.
Yeah, SK went fishing, and well, they caught a Tetno from there. The Gauntlet that time from Jetpacks forced out a Crucible. That's all it really did, but at the same time, it kept Palmataro from entering that Gauntlet. So he made that exit. We lost out Net, we lost out Tetno, and yeah, just really good fishing from SK, I gotta say.
Yeah, well, Fnatic took a bait, and that bait ended their lives. Now we see a double Shatterglass picked up here by Palmatoro. I'm sure you're happy that he's...
14 minutes. No, as a note.
Oh, okay.
14 minutes
14
to get
minutes.
second item. 14.
Well,
that's a bad sign.
He did something that you want Kestrels to do more often, is build a reflex block first. So that is a bit of a gold down the drain, but the double Shatter Glass makes sense. There is a lot of shielding set up right now, so there is an argument that the Piercing Spear would have made more sense, but or the Piercing Shard, but there's double squishy on SK, so if you hit those one-shots, if you hit those glimmer shots, it does a lot of damage. But, you know, we're at this point, 15.5 minutes, and the gold is stacked right up against Fnatic. It's almost a 7,000 gold lead at this stage. It looks like Fnatic want to try and set up a fight.
Palmataro just hit that infusion. We got one sitting on top of Tetno, but SK.
Yeah, it's Fnatic going straight on in. Verse goes down, Gauntlet goes down as well. Tetno JJ jumps away from the fight. Kavalavar's going to throw the Hellfire Brew to try and snipe him out, and it does! That's going to be a ace for SK as they find a mark for everyone, a double for Kavalavar. And I don't know, man, Fnatic, they're kind of playing this Rona in the sense that they have to keep engaging, but the massive gold disparity means that they're just not finding him a reward.
SK took too many advantages early on. They have no answer to Kavalavar. They have no answer to the siege that really just kind of came forward super early here from SK, and they took control of the gold, and it's almost 10,000 between these guys here. 16 minutes. Palmataro took so long to get that second item going.
The highest attack speed, which is Ringo, besides Saw, which makes a lot of sense with Fortress. And Glaive would be a good pick here, even though they're going to be weak early. Glaive Fortress is an extremely deadly combo with Ringo. So Glaive could be a potential option here, or he could even go Scarf like Tyrese has. Ozo comes out. Wow. I like that a lot.
You like that a lot. All right, explain to Humanist why.
Because his A actually does basic damage. It procs basic attack, so he can proc the bleed along with Aftershock proc. He can actually a combo of the A. You can proc Aftershock 3 times. 3-ring Circus can do that 3 times. Aftershock if you time it correctly. It takes 5 seconds to proc the entire ability 3 times.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Can be a lot of damage. Blackfeather, the last lock-in for Fnatic. How does that fare into this Ozo Fortress Ringo?
It can be tough. You obviously can really avoid a lot of damage though if you can use it to avoid Bangarang, or you can block.
Pretty exciting. This guy has been the rookie of the split for me as far as junglers, newcomers to the Vainglory competitive scene is, and I'm super excited to see what kind of plays we can get today from SK.
Now, there was a lot of talk about like early game, a lot of talk about putting down SK, making sure that they don't hit their level 6 power spikes, keeping Ozo a little bit closer to home, right? But Palmataro, like this Koshka, that's absolutely what they're going to have to do. And we have seen the problem of like some really good super early games from things like Koshka Adagio, Koshka Fortress, that kind of deal. And then it falls off really hard. So that's going to be the juggling act here for Fnatic. If they can get far enough ahead to end out the game early enough before that fall off happens. Otherwise, yeah, we might actually see like the 3-ring circus come to town.
Look at this. SK currently setting up in their jungle. They feel like there is a kitty cat prancing around, and they're going to spot out Palmataro here. Gets a healing camp. SK, will they commit to this? Yes, there goes the acro bounce. It starts. There's the 3-ring circus starting on up. Tyra's taking a lot of damage, but he's going to fall back and allow Kavalavar to come in for the first blood. Very smooth stuff from SK securing that one, and they're going to get an early lead for themselves.
Just amazingly smart heads up right there. SK taking the long way around saying, all right, Kval, we're going to check this out. If there's somebody there, you just come on down and we'll make this a party. And that's what they do. They almost lose out Tyrus, but they didn't quite get the kill on top of the monkey. And picking up that kill will now eject Fnatic from the jungle. And this could be a few more smart heads up plays like that. And SK might just be okay.
Yeah, well, I think that early leads always favor an Ozo in the sense that they're able to get that damage spike coming forward. We are going to see Fnatic look for a gank here as Nettolet leads the charge, but Kavalavar immediately moved back, and Kavalavar actually wants to go back to base, get himself some extra energy, but may stick around. Pops the potion instead. Here comes Tyra's looking for Tetno. JJ gets a lot of shielding, but oh my gosh, the AoE onto Palmataro. He takes a massive beating there, and this is even damage really on Tyrus. He hasn't only got much, just that Eclipse Prism. This is scary if he gets that Aftershock anytime soon.
Yeah, it does not even look like there's going to be a banner considered here for the farm. We're just going to let Tyra's build up into the damage. And I think, trying to force that in as fast as he can, knowing that Palmataro is going to be putting on a lot of this early game pressure with Net Toilette, that is definitely the way to go at this point. Jetpacks does have the Dragon Blood contract here as well. That was a big factor in terms of that first kill. And so another factor as to why Palmataro, for example, got blown up right there. That little bit of extra damage goes a long way. It's an extra 100 plus the slowing, and that all keeps you in kill range of Tyrus and Cavalfar here early.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing that I find shuts down an Ozo, apart from just good team coordination, is Poison Shiv. We'll talk about it in a sec. There's a bit of a fight happening as Palmatoro takes another beating, but TennoJJ's managed to slip through the cracks here before Cavalifar could, and this could actually turn great for Fnatic. It's Tyra's singled out and Palmatoro finding the kill. Now they're going to turn straight onto Cavalifar. Look for him as well. It makes it look so easy. 1 by 1 SK4, and Fnatic looking for an ace at 4 minutes, and they're going to get it.
Ace 4 minutes is not the smart heads-up play that SK needed right there, and that will be a lot of damage here on top of this turret there as well, because these ace buff minions are just going to last a while. There's another wave to come in on top of it. No defense means that's going to be 4.5 minutes in, and a pretty decent gold lead accrued just from that one fight right there.
Yeah, huge stuff, and really, the aggression from Fnatic, as soon as TennoJJ just jumped past Cavalifar and said, tag, you're it. That was it. That was the fight won for Fnatic, because there was no way Cavalifar could rush into 3. He was dead if he did so, and as it turned out, he was dead anyway. So wow, incredible stuff from Fnatic to get themselves back onto the scoreboard in quite a spectacular way.
And this also means that Fnatic can resume pressure, because they just had a big cash infusion. Look at those items coming out here at the 5-minute mark. We can't really contest that right now from SK. So if Fnatic just continue to push, dominate that jungle, I think it was Suijay that said, the kitty cat's got to live out there, right? Then I'm not entirely too sure we're going to have the tools really to do much about that right now.
Currently level 6 on Palmatoro. Tyras, he's not quite there yet, which means that we won't see any bangerangs, but Fnatic, they're pushing forward. They've got, as you said, those item spikes, the Aftershock, the Serpent's Mask, and a Fountain there. There are some kind of matches from SK, but it's nowhere near. They come right back. Look how far back they're playing. They can't really be anywhere in the lane because of the fact that the first turret's already gone. And Fnatic, they're looking to try and abuse this this caution that SK are showing. They take themselves a Crystal Sentry.
And it's just, again, putting up that pressure is good play. Like, they're able to take out some of the jungle, they take out that trend, they're going to take away the front, and getting a kill on top of that Crystal Sentry, it's not really so much the gold, but it's the pressure, right? If we do get into that elimination, especially like something before 10-minute, 11-minute mark, right, that is just a huge advantage that Fnatic will then continue to abuse and steal the jungle more continually. And if SK lose out, let's say, for example, another team fight, they lose out that turret, all they'll have is that choke point ready to go when the Kraken comes around, and that is a very, very touchy situation to be in.
Well, we're at this almost 7-minute mark, and Fnatic have accumulated a 2,000 gold lead. Looks like SK are getting ready for a fight. They've come out of the jungle, they've showed their faces. Cavalifar has his Sorrow Blade, Pyros has had his Aftershock for some time, and Jetpacks not quite there with the attack the pack. That could be a key ultimate in trying to get the aggression.
Not 6.
Unless they catch someone out. Yeah, nowhere near 6. Not quite
yeah,
there.
But Net Toilette's actually not 6 either, but he's about a half level ahead. He will pop that here momentarily.
Now, the really great thing about taking Fortress in the roam position rather than the jungle position is actually it offers a lot of damage without really a huge gold investment. So SK, they will have that damage on the Fortress as the game rolls in, but the downside of having Fortress in that captain position is that when you do fall behind, really the only thing he offers is a go forward button, and you're not often wanting to go forward when you're behind.
Forward, behind. We really are playing Simon Says with you this weekend here, Dowsy. Left and right, up and down. But Fnatic are going to go straight left, find that Crystal Sentry. Here comes SK from the top. But I'm still not confident they can take a fight yet.
Well, Hellfire Brew comes out. Here is the Acro bounce. Doesn't get the third charge of it though, but he's still going forward. Tyra's looking for the fight. Bangarang knocks back Palmatoro, and he will be eaten up by Kavalifar. The attack of the pack can be bounced on, and Tyra's gonna get the roller coaster of his life straight into the back line, and another kill goes SK's way. They wait out that level 6, and level 6 on Fortress is a huge power spike, and SK play around it.
All right, good, smart heads-up play right there from SK, because they said, all right, we might not be able to win a straight-up 3v3, but we were so far pushed here from Fnatic to get that Crystal Miner, who they did get. I mean, like, the Sentry is going to return for his last life coming up sometime soon, but they were so far overextended at that point as well, and they just kind of melted a little bit. It was no block on top of Palmataro. That was the right target for the Hellfire. And then Tyra's able to close that distance due to jumping on people's heads. Yeah, worked out. Great stuff.
Gonna see a poison ship perhaps for Kavalifar's second item again on this Ringo. I'm really curious if Techno JJ also gets one. It kind of comes down to if they feel like the sustain that Tyra's will be having is enough to prioritize some mortal wounds for themselves, because you already have mortal wounds on SK's side with the Fortress. Kavalifar getting that poison ship, just picked it up, will also have it. We're going to see Atlas and Breaking Point finished here for Fnatic, so that is going to be a huge spike in damage and also ability to shut down Kavalifar, but a fight over the gold miner here. Fnatic have to move back. Tyres looks to go in. He's looking for Palmatoro, and oh no, Palmatoro may have been caught. No! Bangarang goes forward. Techno JJ leads the charge. Fountain comes out, but the mortal wounds are there. The Hellfire Brew connects, and that's going to be the gold miner connected by Fnatic. But now they have to run for their lives. They've lost Techno JJ and Tyres. He's winding up for another acro bounce. Lands on Netalet's head, chasing him down for the kill as Palmatoro gets a free ride home. But that's going to be once more another fight won by SK, and this time they're striking back with a sentry kill of their own.
So twice now in these fights, Palmatoro has nothing to block Bangarang, nothing to block the Hellfire Brew. We did get that Atlas there from Net Toilette, but it can only block one. We do have a block on top of Techno with his reflex, but Palmatoro, he's gone from that Aftershock now into a little bit more utility with that Atlas. And the Atlas did land. He jumped on top of Kavalifar. Kavalifar was not able to get his own reflex off. And so what did he do? He just stopped. He planted his feet. Said, if I can't attack, I'm just going to burn you to death. That's what he did. Most of the Atlas didn't even really matter because they couldn't stay on him. He got off the Hellfire Brew, used the timer very well, and then as you saw, they were able to sweep from there on top of it. So Palmataro's not going to make that mistake again. He has now gone into that reflex block, but this is very worrisome for Fnatic because SK has now rebuffed these guys multiple times here all the way into the 11-minute mark, and Fnatic have not had a dominating early game.
Yeah, you kind of think about the playstyle of a Black Feather and a Koshka, it's very all-in. But Fortress can kind of shut that down with the attack of the pack force at disengage, and once you start running from Ozo, that's kind of when he can really get a bit nasty with the acro bounce. So I'm really liking the kind of play style that SK are adapting as these fights go on. It doesn't mean to say that they figured out this game and they're going to win it. Fnatic still hold a gold lead, but it's being shortened every time they look for a fight.
All right, so Fnatic, they're not one to give up. The little advantages that they have accrued, they're still ahead in gold. So you can see him pushing up, but SK once more on the hunt.
Yeah, they want to go straight onto Palmatoro. They're diving deep for this one. Kavalifar's not quite there. Bangarang comes out. That's going to be a burst of judgment going out. Kavalifar gets locked down. No, he dodges it out. He's still alive. He's just dancing all over Techno JJ, and he's going to find himself a double kill. What was that? Tyra's still alive on a blinking health bar, and once more another fight goes SK's way. These guys seem to be the kings of finding Fnatic in awkward scenarios.
Either Palmatoro used his Atlas on top of Tyra's, or Kavalifar used his block to block the Atlas and and the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. It's one of the two, but he did not get locked down. He did not fall into that trap. Might have been late to the party, but was able to help clean up very nicely. Third red item now for him as a reward. On top of that, another infusion. Tyra's was all infused in that fight there as well. Techno had his level 8, but Tyra's had his level 9 in that fight. Goes a little bit farther. And so Palmataro, like I said this at the beginning, right? You're going to have a little bit more of a time limit on the usefulness of Koshka. Her early game did not pull very far ahead. Now with only one item, and now going into the double defensives. I'm a little worried for Fnatic's longevity.
Well, another fight looking to be brewed as Kvalifar throws his ultimate out towards Techno JJ. The burn damage gets blocked, but of course the initial damage is there. Jetpack's looking for the fight. That's going to be Palmatoro on his own, and he's getting melted. That time the Yummy Captain Frenzy doesn't get blocked, and Kvalifar's in the midst of it. A trade back and forth, but now it's Techno JJ against Tyrus, and Tyrus is just tearing through this Black Feather. That's going to be another kill going the monkey's way, and it leaves just Net to Let to try and escape this aggro bounce. Nowhere to go. You're in the circus now, an ace for SK.
Man, oh man. Like, if Jetpacks had gone into a Crucible, maybe it would have left Kvalifar alive, but without it, you know, it really is up to Kval to make sure he can block the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. But, like, what do you block? Is it the Yummy Catnip? Is it going to be the Verse? Is it going to be that Atlas to come through? Because we're going to be looking for a second one here soon enough with Tetno. And, yeah, but Jetpacks is just saying, okay, this early game, we're just going to go movement speed, right? Attack of the back. He enables a lot of movement speed. We went over this a little bit earlier. And yeah, you also said yesterday in our conversations, right? The Crucible is more of a crutch. So yeah, Kvalifar did die, but again, the rest of the team was able to use what they have built up in order to still win out the fight.
Yeah, you know, if Kvalifar is on point with his reflex blocks, then the Crucible is 100% not necessary, right? And even in that fight where Kvalifar did lose his life, he still was able to do enough damage in the midst of things to be able to make the player count equal so that Tyros could then clean up house. So it's very interesting here. Perhaps if we get a second Atlas come through, that's when things become a little bit more necessary for a Crucible. But we really haven't seen much usefulness yet of the Verse of Judgment. Net2Let hasn't really been able to get on in there and make a big impact with it.
Yeah, not yet, but you never say never. The problem is that SK is really starting to take control of the game. They were down in gold, but after 10 kills in 15 minutes, they've been able to reverse that. Took their first turret on top of it. Now with the Kraken up, if SK get a better, favorable engage, there is a bigger objective now to take, and Kraken could really start yielding some results at this point in the game. So you see a lot of infusions to come through. Kvalifar actually has the cash to go get one. Doesn't really have the opportunity, it seems, right now. But Tyrus and Jetpacks both rocking. Palmataro is at the end of his rope. He does not have the cash to look for his next one, whereas Tetno has his kind of waiting for him in the bank. So there is going to be a lot of power that these guys are going to try to patch up before the next team fight, but SK have positioning for sure right now.
Absolutely. They got positioning, the gold is swung in their favor. They've got themselves infusions, and they're looking to catch Fnatic out in the open. Net2Let is going to be spotted. Well, they know he's by himself. They don't quite know, but now they spot Palmatoro and Techno JJ. They at least have an inkling that they could have gone for the execute. But hindsight 2020, they will just fall back, farm up some of these middle camps here, and just look to get themselves a little bit more gold, maybe some more flares. The infusion comes out for Jetpacks. They're ready for a fight here.
Yeah, Palmataro's going home. He's going to pick up his right now. There it is. Tetno has, again, his ready and waiting. But if there was that fight right then and there, SK had 3 infusions to the 1 of Fnatic. And Palmataro finally building into more blue. It's really delayed. You know, 16 minutes still looking for that second damage item because he has gone into the defensive natures. But Fnatic have just absolutely lost a lot of the momentum they had earlier on.
Oh, Tenno's going to dive straight on forward. Tyra's looking for the accurate bounce. That's going to be a Yummy Captain Frenzy, locking Kvalifar down, but he's still alive. Bursted down by Techno JJ in the Verse of Judgment. Tyra's, though, he still wants his fight, and Jetpacks is with him. Bangarang knocks Palmatoro down, and that's going to be a 2 versus 2, but Jetpacks loses his life. Tyra's versus 2. Tyra's can't sustain enough. A double kill for Techno JJ. They found an opening there forecourt. Unfortunately for Kvalifar, locked on the ground. The Hellfire Brew meant that he just didn't go anywhere, and that is Fnatic bringing themselves back into this game.
2 big things on that. First is that Fnatic did have the patience to wait for those infusions, then they engaged. SK seemed very happy to wait around for whatever reason to let it happen. But the other big thing is, again, Tetno finally got that Atlas, right? That was a double Atlas engage. We did not have enough to keep Kvalifar from all those status effects. And Net2Let, with that verse on top of it, was absolutely brilliant right there. They were able to eliminate that Ringo very quickly, and that was what they needed to do in order to turn that fight to them. So big patient plays, but they finally had the items to make it work. So that's some dominance back to them. I'm not entirely too sure if it's enough to put the game 100% into their favor, because SK is going to know about all these tricks up their sleeves now. But this is definitely a lot of the patching of the power here.
So Jetpacks is itemizing towards a Crucible after that last fight. Techno JJ is itemizing towards the Poison Shiv now, which is going to cut down the healing that can come forward from Kvalifar and Tyra as if he goes in towards the Eve of Harvest. So this is quite good timing really from Fnatic, but another fight breaking out. Kvalifar, he's going to get a Grasp Baton. This time he blocks up 2, but can he get out is the question. No, he cannot. Gets chased on down. Tyra's trying to do his best as he bounces around the fight. Palmatoro going to just get on out, let Techno JJ do the work. Tyra's, he's dumping and diving. He's going to not be able to find anything though for himself, and when Kvalifar gets focused like that, then SK are in trouble. Yeah,
this is now very worrisome for SK. It's very kind of back and forth, as if you're listening, that it really is kind of being illustrated. The early game, the invades from Palmataro, Net Toilette, right? They're able to put on a lot of pressure, but SK made some smart moves, and they brought it back to them. SK perhaps waited around a little bit too long. Like, this Techno JJ Blackfeather is absolutely a monster right now. You saw Kvalifar, like, he was able to block 2 of those status effects, but by the end of it, he got hit by that next Atlas. He was already down so low, and as soon as that poison comes online, that Shiv for Techno, this is almost just like...
It's all good. It's all good. I'll send you a screenshot of what I was looking at. You can laugh along with me. But this is an important moment. At this moment right now, either team, in theory, could win and fight. Kvalifar just needs to survive, right? And then SK do a lot of damage. But it's more likely that Fnatic take a fight, take a crack, and take a game.
Well, whoever gets Kraken at this point could absolutely just break open the defenses. I mean, it's 2 turrets to 4. If Fnatic get it, there's a chance they can end the game. If SK pick it up, well, they have a good chance of actually just evening out the playing field. But, there is something to be said about using your power spikes, using your advantages to end the game, to get far enough ahead that your opponent can't really come back. And neither side have really done that. Like, Fnatic early on, they had some really good pressure, but unfortunately, they weren't far enough ahead. Like, and Palmataro went from 1 damage item now into, his double defensive, right? After that double defensive, he's finally getting into blue, but that's when Techno kind of came online and took away the advantages of SK. Now, neither side has been super far ahead. I think that at best 3,000 gold, so it is still very even, but neither side have really expanded their advantages either.
Well, here comes a Hellfire Brew. It's going to fly straight out towards Techno JJ. Jetpack's looking for the engage on this fortress. Hasn't quite popped his ultimate yet. Here goes Tyra straight on into the backline. Techno JJ is taking a huge chunk of damage. Kvalifar is just nowhere near this fight. Burst of Judgment goes out. Tyra's does get bursted, but Kvalifar's going to run straight in, and they're looking for a kill. That's 1 good block, but it's not enough. That's 2 for Tyra's, looking for his 3rd and final. An ace comes forward for SK, and what they did there was pretty interesting, but it seemed to work for SK.
So, again, back and forth, right? Neither side holding advantage for long. It's the mark of 2 very evenly matched teams, despite the fact that I really do think there could have been some bigger capitalizations. SK was baiting out abilities. So they threw jetpacks and tires in this, like, even if they throw everything on us, they can't kill us. And then who enters the scene after that? Kvalifar, right? Who has been dying first in these fights?
Fashionably
Kvalifar.
late.
Yeah, but he was fashionably late, I think, on purpose.
Yes.
This time. Because they finally started saying, okay, well, we can take a 2v3. We got a Crystal Sentry here. It's like 3.5 versus 3, no problem. Kvalfar's not here. Cool. No, great. Let's do it. And then they threw down all their, abilities, and then SK just kind of said, all right, well, we can survive through that. Kvalfar comes in, does cleanup crew, and that's a very big difference of how these last 2 fights went.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's hard to keep Kvalifar alive in the middle of a massive fight when it's been you know, they've been engaged on here. SK or Kavalifa was there to begin with, but when Kavalifa arrives fashionably late into the team fight, then actually SK, they can bait out some of these ultimates, like you say, bait out some of these abilities, item actives and whatnot. Now though, they have to be careful because the Kraken's pushing in. There's no way Kavalifa cannot be in this fight when it begins. We are going to see the Hellfire Brew thrown out. Kavalifa's playing so far backwards. He does not want to temp out any trouble. Currently, it's just SK looking for the Kraken to do the work, but Techno JJ wants to dive forward. Palmatora is going to spot out Kavalifa. Now this is when things become an issue. Techno JJ knocked back, but the Yummy Company Frenzy does land. Kavalifa, can he sustain through this is the question. That's the first kill going SK's way. Techno JJ looking for return, and he will find Kavalifa, but he's being chased on down. Taken on out of double for Tyras, and net to let, well, he's left to defend the base against two hungry guys.
So a few things, because I do think this might actually be the game over here, but Net Toilette bought an Echo. That's why you saw 2 versus Judgments right there. He bought it just before the team fight, used out 1, repositioned, used out the 2nd. Not really huge effects. You don't get to see it on Captain Adagio that much, but the 2nd was, again, the positioning of Kavalifa. And as I do actually think that this is going to be game over, he positioned himself right behind the turret, like the very top left corner of that turret. Think of it like a square. They had the enemy from Fnatic had to engage on the bottom right corner. That was a lot of distance that they couldn't really easily traverse right there. Then he was able to kite him out backwards. Yeah, he died, but he didn't